Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, my name is Kelsey and my wife Taylor is currently in the military. About a week ago, somebody messaged me on Instagram asking if Tay and I were dating when she went through basic military training. And yes, we were. And to answer that question, I kind of wanted to make a little video kind of explaining from like a girlfriend or a spouse's perspective what it's like to have your significant other go through basic training, what it was like for me, and what I remember. So this is going to be a quick little video if you are interested in watching, if maybe you know someone who's about to go through basic training. I can kind of tell you what I remember and how it was like for me, at least. So Tay went through basic training back in 2016. So it's been about 4 years since she went through basic training. And because of that, a lot could have changed in this time period. We don't really know anyone that has gone through it recently to know if things have been different or not. So all of this is going to be based upon, first of all, the Air Force, because all branches of the military are going to be different. So the Air Force and how it was for me 4 years ago. So what I remember, the night before she left for basic training, she had to go through MEPS and everything. And then everyone had to stay the night at a hotel, and then they left on a bus in the morning straight to the airport. So I remember the night before we got to go and hang out at the hotel. We had dinner. It was me and her family members, and we kind of just hung out. It was kind of like all setting in. This was all about to happen. She was really leaving tomorrow. And it was, I don't know, it was a very emotional day. So then we weren't allowed to stay at the hotel. So we ended up saying goodbye. And then we came back super early the next morning. I don't remember exactly what time, but we were able to like wave her goodbye and say our final goodbyes before they all got onto the bus. Went to the airport and flew to San Antonio, Texas at Lackland Air Force Base, which is where all Air Force basic training was held at the time. I believe it still is. Yeah. So basic training was about 2 months long, I believe. So it was a full 2 months. They weren't allowed to have their phones. We wrote letters back and forth, and it was a very long 2 months. It was really sad. And it was just really hard to not be able to talk to them after being used to seeing them every single day. But yeah, the letters were nice. It was kind of exciting to you felt like you were back in the olden days when there was no phones and you did write letters. So every week they were allowed to send out letters, and we were allowed to send letters and care packages to them. So we got to hear kind of like what was going on a daily basis, what it was like for her. So throughout basic training, they were allowed to have 2 phone calls, or maybe 3. I think it was 2. In the letters, she would tell us like, hey, next week, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday around this time, I will get my phone call. So because of that, we kind of knew and expected when they were coming and had our phones ready, and we were able to talk to her it wasn't very long. It was probably like a 10-20 minute phone call that they were allowed. So flash forward through basic military training, and the 2 months, it goes by pretty fast. And then the final weekend is like their graduation weekend. And this is like the most exciting, the best part of the whole experience is the whole entire graduation. So graduation was a 4-day event. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I flew to Texas with Taylor's mom, stepdad, and brother, and it was just us. And we flew down on a Wednesday. We got our hotel. We rented a car and everything. And the hotel that we got was right outside of base. And everything that was taking place took place on base. And therefore, we made sure to get a hotel very close so that way we didn't have to do a ton of driving because we knew there was going to be a bunch of traffic. Thursday morning, we had to be there. There was an orientation briefing at like 7 a.m. So we had to go into this auditorium. We got a presentation done, kind of explaining like what was going to happen this weekend and like what we were going to be doing, where we were supposed to be going, etc. And then after that, we went into the stadium area. There was like a bunch of bleachers. It's kind of like a horseshoe shaped. It's not like a full circle, but it's like a horseshoe. And so we got our spots in the bleachers. We made sure to get as close as we could. And the very first thing that happens is the airman's run. So they all run in their flight formation, in their PT gear, and that was the first thing that happened. So then after the airman's run, they go back to their dorms and they change into their uniforms. At this time, they were wearing ABUs. I don't know if that's still the same or not. And then this part was my favorite part. So after that, they march out and they do what's called the coin ceremony. I'll insert some like pictures. If I still have the videos, I'll insert that. And they all stand in formation. They get awarded a coin. But it was just like a really, really special moment to see like her in uniform for the first time. And then after that was all over, they have what is called like the tap out. And so they're standing there and they're like, I don't even know the correct word for it, but like in their formation, and they can't move until they've been tapped out by like a family member or a loved one or whoever is there. So we had to like kind of mingle in between a bunch of different people until we got to her. Thankfully, she was kind of like right in the front row, and we were too, of the bleachers, so she was easy to get to. And I was able to tap her out, and like once I touched her, I gave her a hug, and then she was able to like walk away from that area. So that was a really exciting day. It was really, really fun to watch and like experience that whole thing from like the outside. It was just really, really special. So then after that, the rest of the day she had base lib, which I believe we had to stay on base, but she was allowed to go hang out with us and do whatever until like 9 o'clock at night or something, or maybe it was earlier than that. So what happens on Friday is kind of similar to the coin ceremony, but also a little bit different. Again, we had to be there at like 7 a.m. for an orientation briefing, and then we had to make our way to the parade field, got our seats in the bleachers. The parade started at 9. They marched around the parade field. They said the Airman's Creed. There was a few other things that happened. I can't remember off the top of my head. But then again, like the coin ceremony, they have the tapping out. So they stand there until someone taps them out. However, it was a little bit different because Tay was asked to be in the flag mass during the parade ceremony. And so once she was done, she had to return the flag, and we didn't get to tap her out there, but we just met up with her after she returned the flag, and we got to spend the rest of the day on base again with her. Or actually, I think on Friday she was able to leave base. So we went back to the hotel, we went out to eat outside of the base and got to spend some time with her. And she was able to tell us all of her stories, and it was really fun. It was really exciting and fun to watch both of those things happen. And then Saturday and Sunday, both days they were given base liberty, so we were able to go do whatever we wanted. I believe she still had to stay in uniform unless we were like at the hotel, but whenever we were out in public, she had to stay in uniform. But San Antonio is a very, very pretty city, and we went to the Riverwalk, the famous, infamous Riverwalk. I don't know if you've heard of it, but we spent most of our time there. We walked around their shops, restaurants, malls, ice cream parlors, like literally everything, and that's where we spent most of our time, and it was so gorgeous there. We got to meet a couple of her friends who hung out with us as well, and but yeah, that's basically it. For the graduation. And base liberty is something like as a flight they had to earn, because I remember there was another like brother flight or something that she was telling us that got in trouble so many times that they weren't granted the base liberty, so they weren't able to spend like the rest of the weekend with their family. So thankfully everyone on her flight was good, and we were able to spend that whole weekend with her. But yeah, so that's basically it for basic training graduation. So then we ended up flying home, and straight from basic training, she had to go to her tech school, which depending on which job you have in the Air Force, tech school's in a different location, but her tech school was actually in Texas still. I don't remember if it was Lackland Air Force Base. I think it was. I think she stayed on Lackland Air Force Base for security forces training. And I remember tech school is a lot better. She has her phone. We were able to talk, FaceTime, text every day. I think I went to visit twice while she was in tech school. I was currently in school, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to go out and visit, but I remember making it out there twice for a long weekend, and that's actually when we got married, was in tech school. But anyways, I hope that this kind of gave you an idea of what basic training is like for your significant other from my perspective. Again, this was 4 years ago. I don't know how much has changed, especially with COVID going on. I know there's probably a whole lot of new regulations that they're going through at the time being, but yeah, that was how it was for me and Tay. Yes, we were dating. Yes, we got married in tech school. Now we are stationed here in Wyoming. If you have any military questions or want to know what basic training is like, or tech school as a military person or significant other, stay tuned. We'll have Tay film a video like that. And then if you have any other questions, DM me or her on Instagram. We love to answer your guys' questions. And yeah, we have some exciting news coming up. So I don't know when we're going to tell you. We have to finish telling the rest of our family. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.